So motion to begin the meeting.
I move that we start the meeting.
Second.
Okay. Oh, Jana Parker's joining. Oh, okay. I didn't know she was joining. Thought she was already on. Oh, that's so teacher, you need to change your name. I don't know how it came with me. All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. So we're going to go with the agenda. First of all, it is so lovely and great to see everybody on the call. I'm assuming everyone had a wonderful holiday and everyone is back. Great. Thank you to our administration and our administrative support always being there for us, even on these calls in the middle of the day with county executives and everything else. We really do appreciate you guys. And I want to really emphasize that because I don't know if we say it enough. You guys make our work a lot easier. So the first agenda item is we had a meeting with the acting county executive, CE Tara Jackson. Just to recap, I'm sure you guys are aware she has years of experience in the government, having worked, I believe, in the state's attorney's office before crossing over and working in the county executive's office. And she's been there for a couple of tenures. I believe she was there under Rashawn Baker as well before the county executive, Brooks, took the election for that seat. And so now she's the acting county executive, and we had a meeting with her to discuss putting money in the budget for the Fair Elections Fund, like give us some money. So I'm going to give a brief recap. The commissioners, the teacher, and Dan were on there as well, so I would love for them to give their input. But it seemed like a very positive meeting in context to everyone being transparent about what we were looking for, the options that we currently had, as well as the necessity to support this program because of how important it is and because there are funding mandates coming up in context to the 2026 election. CE Jackson was very forthcoming with just kind of her position as well as her support of the Fair Election Fund and the support of the programming, but also was transparent in context to financial constraints coming from the state level, possible national budget constraints, as well as funding dropping down from different issues. So that is kind of where we're at in context to this particular meeting. And then I'll let Satitra and Dan kind of give their thoughts as well. I'll go on mute.
Oh, okay. So one of the so I think as stated, acting county executive said that she knew that the program needed funding. I think that's kind of how she said that, yeah, like the county has an obligation and needs to do this, but also she didn't make any specific commitments. But they were really, so we told them about our meeting last month in which we generated 3 different scenarios that really some of that came from our meeting with Mr. Early and the finance director, whatever that was, 6 weeks ago or something, in which Mr. Early said it would be helpful if we could drill down, reduce the amount, like what are some other smaller amounts that maybe could work for appropriation, not the full like $2 million or $1 million. And so those scenarios that we had last time, they said they would really welcome getting them. We said we're going to, I think we summarized them, but we said we're going to finalize all that tonight. We already had agreed on it. We'd send them the letter like immediately after this meeting. So I think that, anyway, I think it showed them that, you know, we were willing to work with them and we asked how we could be helpful. So I think they're interested in doing anyway, I think they're interested in finding a way to put something in the budget. And I think as we discussed last time, and from our meetings with the county council, it's really essential that we probably are not going to get any more added at the council level once it's proposed. The likelihood is that something, the risk is that it gets reduced, but it's unusual for things to get bumped up at that point. So that's why it's important to get these recommendations to them. And then also they did tell us that the budget hearing that the county executive will have is on the 29th of January. So that's an opportunity for, and now my understanding is that's still like 2 weeks before the budget proposal comes to the council, but so it won't have been totally finalized, but it will be 98% finalized, but still be important to go to that hearing and have ourselves or our allies to weigh in support of that with the county executive. So Chitra, do you want to follow up with maybe
Yeah, sure.
thoughts about the letter or whatever?
Right. So I think the meeting, there's only one public hearing meeting that the executive is planning, which is on the 29th, and that's at the community college. Is that what she said, Dan?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's an evening meeting. So I think, once we, it hasn't been announced yet, but as soon as we get the details, I think we should spread the word and get supporters of the program speaking there. The other thing that the county executive, acting county executive said was she reminded us that there was money in the last budget that the executive had put in. So I thought that was a promising step for her to take, so she was clearly had been somewhere as part of the negotiations or recalled that effort. And so I think, so I think that's a positive step. And as Dan said, we don't know what's happening at the council, but it's unlikely that money will be added. So also, I think Mr. Early was very appreciative of the scenarios that we had drawn up, because he said drilling down at that level and saying, this is what you can do with this money really helps to formulate what can be put into the budget. I think those are the only 2 points I wanted to add. So we have a draft letter. We've shared that letter on Google Docs with everyone. It's a letter that Dan Smith and Jana Parker and I worked on after this meeting with the acting executive. So I think if the others would have any comments, it would be great to get them. And as Dan said, we could finalize that and send it out to the county executive and to Mr. Early. I think at this point, we can do that. And then the legislation requires us to send a budget recommendation to the council by March 1st. So we can do that immediately following the public meeting the county executive has, and then we can wrap our heads around the letter to the council and send that in as well. There's no urgency because right now the budget is in the process of being developed, and it doesn't go for consideration by the council until later. Any other things we've missed out?
Are there any thoughts from anyone?
Well, if it could be helpful, we could just quickly review the numbers game thing. We had been asking. So one of the things that we reiterated at the meeting, and I think at all the meetings that we've had, is that if we had come up with the 3.65 million as an optimal amount to have in the fund going into an elections year, and that as a sustainable level, and that's with fully funding 2 candidates for each of the positions, which includes at the county executive level, like the $750,000 for 2. So that it is more than, I think that's half the amount of money right there. But if that was funded at 900,000 roughly a year, it'd be sustainable. And if that had been funded at $450,000 since it was passed in 2018, we'd be there. But it wasn't. And so we did kind of reiterate that going forward, it would be good long-term to still be focusing on that amount, thinking about that for like future budgets. But this year, there are these constraints right now that are very real, that we're not going to have that many candidates, and a bunch of them aren't even eligible. If they have a current campaign account that's active, they can't even run because they were supposed to, by unless the laws change, they were supposed to have closed those or declared stop spending in that, in this cycle by last July. So there are going to be fewer people running. So we put up, as we discussed last time, 3 scenarios. One was enough funds for 18 district council candidates, one for each of the 9. That was like $950,000 more. The second one was a $475,000 appropriation, which really is real close to what was in the budget last year. And that would fully, with the 400,000 already there, would fully match 9 district council candidates, 9 and 1 at large. And then the third, which was much smaller, the $275,000 would fully match 9 district council candidates. So that's what we talked about last time. So that's what's in the letter. And but we're so I don't think there's anything new, except that yeah, I think that's it.
Those were the 3 that we discussed, and then we've also put in the text what happens if you fund 1 district council for each district, which is 9 district council plus 2 at large, because that covers the entire council, and that comes sort of between 1 and 2. So we put that in there as well. And that's it. That's all that we've added to the discussion.
So, other commissioners, your thoughts in context to the letter, the meeting, and our next steps? Okay. I see you guys are ruminating over the letter itself a little bit. Like I said, we gave them 3 options. This letter is going to go to them. Yeah. Any thoughts? Okay, well, we can vote on basically agreeing to the contents of this letter and sending it out to the county executive, CC early. Do I have a motion to adopt this letter and then send it out?
I was hesitant.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
So I just
No.
because I know that it was sent today, and I know that I hadn't had a chance to read the letter. So I want to make sure before we adopt the letter that everyone had a chance to read it.
We can, so if we agree to, I'm gonna see, I feel like,
Because it said either before this meeting or immediately after the meeting. So is there some time to, I mean,
I can amend.
we can real quick, but
No, we can amend it to where we can vote on agreeing to send the letter to the county executive and with CC early. And then like we did with the other letters, kind of say, as we agree via email on the language and content. Does that work?
That's fair.
Okay.
I
and
wanted
then-
to make a comment that the 3 scenarios, which is the basic part of the letter, we already voted on at the last meeting, right? So that's not new. We discussed that, went back and forth and all of that quite a bit and came up with the scenario. So then it's just the language of the letter. So if that's all we are, I mean, if the basic idea is okay, we can vote on it to go, or maybe we don't even have to vote because we already voted on it at the last meeting and all we're doing is kind of working on the language. So, I mean, I think maybe the letter is a go and the language is something we decide the next day.
And I would favor giving, like everyone a chance. I don't know if noon tomorrow is adequate, to give any feedback or on it. And as long as there's not, major substantive changes, I'm fine with delegating final edits and things to the chair and to our staff. Ms. Warner Wiggins, you guys work out the format of it and everything properly, and in any edits that people think would improve the flow or style, or not major substance changes, but any of that I'm fine with. So do we have a motion, or do we want to do that, or what?
I think that's what we agreed. Commissioner Nelson, is that fine? Like, yeah, okay. And you put that motion on the floor just to send it to the county executive and CC early, and then go from there.
And be second. And then, this would be, I mean, any of our communications like that are public documents, right? So, I mean, in a sense, they'll be on our website and things. So, but should they also be copied to the, to the council executive and the council chief of staff or whomever, just as a
I know that we've had a couple of conversations around that in context to all of our documents are public documents versus whether or not we can send them to the entire county council versus just one person when they're public documents that would go to everyone anyway.
Yeah, maybe we should wait and send the letter to the county council. I mean, a more full-fledged letter to the county council, because this is addressing the initial budget issue versus actually the deliberations around the budget, which is what the council does. They don't really, they move funds around, right? So rather than add, so this is the initial ask.
So are you saying to just send it to the county executive and
right to the people we actually met with? Yeah.
Okay, we can do that.
Suggestion, and then
yeah, and then it'll be available on the sites since it's all public.
And we are required to send a letter to the council per the legislation by March 1st, and so we can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, and that legislation doesn't specify specifically the chair or the administrator, it says the council. So
yeah, we send it to everybody on the council. That's how I see it.
I'll have to interject again. Our procedures, as they usually are, is that it goes to the administrator of the county council, who will then distribute it to the chair, and the chair will then distribute it likewise. I think I've had this conversation before.
You have
that hasn't changed.
And I appreciate that. Can you clarify whether the procedures trump legislation? Because if the legislation just says to send it to the county council,
I'm just going to the internal procedures that deal with the receipt.
I understand, sir.
Yes, that it goes through the council administrator. It has to go through her. It's submitted through her, and she will make sure it gets submitted to the chair, and likewise will be ultimately submitted to the council in general.
Okay, so just for clarification, my question was, you're saying that the internal policies and procedures trump a written piece of legislation?
I'm not saying it dictates. No, sorry. Okay. I'm not saying anything trumps anything. I'm just saying the procedures on communications that are then distributed. It will get to the county council, They have the council chair and the council administrator to administer these things. So that's the flow and the chain of command it goes through.
Or it can go again to the rest of the council through the administrator, but I think our preference is that we'd like to send it also directly to each of the council members. The
I
administrator
understand that.
and
I'm just
everybody
trying
else.
to let you know
That's fine.
how we operate.
And actually,
Yeah, go
for
ahead.
me, this is this is primarily a communication focus to the administration team and the acting executive, that I'm fine with it, going to the administrator of the council in this case. And maybe when we want to do the next letter to the council, we can revisit that. But
Yeah, I mean, this seems like a point that
Yeah.
we keep coming over and over to, that I honestly don't feel like was I don't really feel like there's clarification on it, particularly in context to this next level in regards to what our charge is from the legislation, in context what we're told to do from the legislation, and providing something to the county council directly. So that's something that we can circle back to, like you said, Commissioner Smith. But it just seems like a point that we keep coming to. And to be quite frank, these are public documents. And if they're public documents, this is a public forum. We're discussing the letter. We have to put the letter on the website. It's all public information anyway. I really don't see the issue in sending it to the council as a whole. And that's my stance on that. So we can move on with this conversation. Let's talk about, let's do
Wait,
mhm.
I have a question. I got the email from Suchitra. Apologize if I'm saying the name
Satitra,
wrong.
that's it. Mhm.
At 2:00 that a separate link would be sent with the letter, but I don't see another I didn't see another email with the letter. I got that email at 2, but I don't see another email that contained a link to the letter. Can someone
No
forward
worries.
It went to your
Yeah.
DHS email.
the DHS?
Mm-hmm.
I know I got a lot of emails.
No, I think the problem was when I sent it to the DHS, Google warned me that DHS doesn't have a Google account, so anybody with this email can see it. So maybe it didn't get to you. I can put the link here if you can copy it.
Okay.
The DHS email was the problem.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Right. So just in context to this, we're already agreed that this will be sent to the acting county executive, Ms. Jackson, and Stan Early, and we will. Good. And if we could all get back any comments or edits by noon tomorrow, and then we'll send it out, or the staff will send it out to them this week. And then, as that these are public documents, they'll be on the website and everyone can access them in any capacity, in every capacity. And so then we'll recircle the report that we have to send to the county council at the next meeting in February. So let's move on to the next agenda item in regards to reports on the county council member meetings. I have mine scheduled for this upcoming, for January, with the 3 council members that I'll be meeting with. So that will be happening in January. So I will have my reports from those 3 at that time. Has anyone else met with any council members? I know that we had a meeting with Commissioner Satitra and Commissioner Dan with a couple, but have anyone met with any other ones outside of those meetings?
No.
Mines are in January, so that's when everyone is available. Mines are in January, so I definitely understand it. I think I am taking Councilmember Burrows, who is my council member, Councilmember Blagay, and Councilmember Orieva. I think this was so long ago. I don't know who is taking Councilmember Olson and Fisher.
I can
as
do
well as,
Olson. He's mine, so I can do Olson.
okay. And what about Fisher and Watson?
So we did meet with them, right? I think so. There is
You-
a group in District 2 that is interested in meeting with Fisher and
Mhm.
is interested in this program. So maybe I should, Danny Shively is one of them. He's in the Hyattsville City Council. So I can ask them to schedule that.
Okay. They
Unless
can
somebody from this group also wants to attend. I mean, that would be
just,
fine.
okay. I don't have a problem meeting with Watson, but does anyone specifically live in her district? Okay. Ms. Jackson, did you want to meet with Watson, or would you like for me to take that one? Doesn't matter to me.
You can take that one.
Okay. So Watson, Blagay,
What are your January dates? Or you can
whenever they're.
share them later.
Yeah, I'll hit you up. Because I know mine's with Orieva is later on in January. And I know Burroughs and Blagay is just kind of at their availability. So, but I'll shoot them to you and then you can join me. You want to do Watson with me?
Are they going to be in person or
They'll
virtual?
probably be virtual.
Okay.
Would you like to do Watson with me?
Okay.
Got it. Got it.
No. Okay. Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Yeah, she's cool. So we'll do her. And so then that just leaves Ivy, Hawkins. What's that other one?
Harrison.
Harrison. Yeah, Harrison.
Well, we had a meeting with Ivy. I can see if there's other people in our district that might want to weigh in with her.
Mm-hmm. I think Hawkins and Harrison should be between you and Satitra or someone else. I know how much support we have from them on this particular issue. So it
And
might be better.
Councilmember Harrison is the sole member who voted against the bill. So I think we sort of know where he stands on it. I'm happy to try to meet with Hawkins, with Councilmember Hawkins, if he's available, but I have sort of limited time. I think we should put a call out to his office to see if he can schedule a meeting.
Okay. I mean, if you could do that, that's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
and if you want folks from District 4 for your meeting with Watson,
mhm.
I can, once you've set up something, I can post that around and get some folks from her district who are interested.
Okay, that works.
Martha Ainsworth would be interested, and maybe there are others.
Mm-hmm. I know a couple of people who live in her district too. So okay, then we'll do that. Go ahead.
One other thing in District 5, so y'all probably aware that we're having a special election the same time that the county executive special election is on March 4th is the primary for District 5. And so there's a group that in this part of the county, Cheverly, that is meeting on Friday to plan a candidate forum. And so I plan to attend that and raise this as one of the issues that should be raised. And so I think if any of you are plugged into any groups that are doing candidate forums of any kind, but especially, for both of the special elections, county executive, but also District 5, this would be a good issue to raise. And I know my wife's on the board with the League of Women Voters, and so I'm they're, I think, organizing forum for the exec, I believe. So anyway, I've just encouraged us all to raise this, and the more we can get it out in advance, if there's any, candidate questionnaires that go out, it would be good to try to raise this so that it's not just a 30-second soundbite at a forum where they're talking about 10 different issues. It'd be nice to be able to get some further, attention on the importance of this. So I'll work
Yeah, I
on
know.
that. So we'll see. Okay.
I know that the NAACP is doing 2 candidate forums for the county executive spot. So I'll reach out to them just in context to this particular question. And then I know that there is another county executive forum that's supposed to be coming up as well. So I'll reach out to them. Okay. All right. So our next steps are that we are meeting with the various county council members before our next meeting in context to their availability. And then we're also reaching out to the upcoming candidate forums to get this put on as a question. We are sending the letter. We're all giving our feedback and providing any feedback by noon tomorrow for the letter so that it can go out to the county executive, Mrs. Jackson, and Stan Early. And then we are preparing, I mean, this is kind of a next steps, but we're looking at the report or the letter that we'll be preparing to send the county council in or for February as our legislative mandate. Anything else that I missed?
I just wanted to check that Commissioner Jackson got the link. It's in the chat. Because we can't send it to you by email afterwards.
Try to send it to her also.
If there's some other email to send it to, because it goes to the
Yeah.
government site and doesn't get.
Yeah. Thanks for your comments already, Ms. Nelson. I saw you were in there and double tasking. Very, very
Yeah.
good. Thanks.
Yeah, it's just the CRT one. I'll try again. Okay. Okie dokie. Well, do I have a motion to adjourn? So we can all get to another
So
snow day.
moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right. You guys have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful snow
Thanks,
day.
everyone.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Have a good night.
You too.
Good night.